The moment the news broke, the entire internet froze as if someone had pressed pause on chaos and play on justice because after years of betrayal, heartbreak, and public warfare, the battle that had drained Melody Sheree finally shifted in her favor, and the world could feel the shockwave ripple through every corner of social media. This was not just another celebrity headline or a dramatic twist for television. This was a mother fighting for the safety and stability of her children while the man who once vowed to protect her dragged her through humiliation, infidelity, manipulation, and endless attempts to control her life. People had watched Melody walk through fire while MartellHolt shifted blame, played victim, and used the children as pawns in a game meant to crush her spirit. Yet she refused to break and turned her pain into a force that could not be stopped. So when the announcement came that she had won full physical custody, it felt like a collective exhale. A moment of victory not only for Melody, but for every woman who has ever fought back against a storm determined to destroy her. From the moment Melody stepped away from the ashes of her broken marriage, it became clear that she was not going to let the world define her story, because every insult thrown her way, every betrayal ripped through her trust, and every attempt by Martell to control her only made her stronger as she fought, not just for survival, but for the emotional safety of her children who had quietly endured the turbulence swirling around their parents. Melody walked through humiliation but still showed grace. She walked through manipulation but still stood tall. She walked through the darkest corners of her life and transformed each wound into a stepping stone that led her toward becoming the woman millions admire today. Martell's infidelity, his reckless choices, and his destruction of their family could have shattered her, but she refused to crumble under the weight of it all, and instead poured her energy into rebuilding her identity, piece by piece. She focused on creating a stable future for her children, while the world watched her navigate through pain with a level of composure that many could only imagine. She launched her businesses, showed up for her fans, continued filming even when emotionally exhausted, and held her children close while trying to protect them from the effects of their father's chaos. Martell, on the other hand, chose to make the situation worse by publicly parading his relationship with Arian Curry, engaging in petty arguments, releasing interviews meant to paint himself as a martyr, and eventually using the children as a weapon in a fight that should have been handled with maturity and compassion. He filed for full custody in what many believed was a calculated move meant to crush Melody emotionally and financially. But instead, the decision exposed the depth of turmoil and instability he brought into their lives. Melody, however, remained focused on her children's well-being, never allowing bitterness to cloud her judgment. Because her fight was never about ego or revenge, it was about creating a home where her children could heal, breathe, and grow without being used as bargaining tools by a parent obsessed with control. The court saw her consistency, her dedication, and her refusal to let chaos dictate her parenting. And over time, the truth behind the drama became impossible to hide. Every legal step, every hearing, every moment of scrutiny only revealed how much Melody had endured and how relentlessly she had fought to protect her children from emotional harm. Her strength became her weapon, and her silence became louder than Martell's theatrics, as the world slowly shifted its focus toward her resilience and the undeniable fact that she was the stable foundation her children desperately needed in the middle of a storm that should never have existed in the first place. When the custody battle finally reached its peak, the courtroom became the stage where years of hidden wounds and unspoken truths were laid bare, and the judge could see clearly the difference between a parent seeking control and a parent fighting for peace, because Melody's record of consistency, responsibility, and emotional stability stood in sharp contrast to the chaos Martell had continuously dragged into their lives. The guardian appointed to represent the children's interests examined everything from the emotional environment in both homes to the patterns of behavior that had been unfolding for years, and what emerged was a picture that made the court's decision inevitable, because the children deserved a safe, predictable, and nurturing space where they could grow without fear of being caught in the crossfire of a broken adult relationship. While Martell acted as though his absence at the final hearing could be excused by filming obligations, the truth is that the decision was never about one missed appearance, but about the evidence collected across the entire span of their conflict, and the proof that stability could only exist with Melody. The court acknowledged that Martell would still have legal input, but understood that physical placement with Melody offered the structure and emotional clarity the children needed. Melody's relief after the verdict spread quickly through social media when she posted that peaceful image of Mariah, and the reaction from fans revealed just how deeply invested the world had become in her journey, because they had watched her fight through storms that would have crushed. Many and now finally saw the beginning of a calmer chapter. Yet Martell's response served as a stark reminder that patterns do not disappear. Overnight, when he released the video of Sugar Mama hugging Knox in a moment that should have simply been sweet, but felt tainted by timing and intention, viewers noticed that the tag centered on Knox rather than the shared siblings page, and the subtle hint that Martell wanted to redirect public attention toward himself rather than allow Melody's moment to stand unchallenged. Despite his efforts, the shift in energy was undeniable because people were no longer influenced by his theatrics and saw the post as another attempt at reclaiming relevance in a narrative that had already moved past his manipulation. Melody's victory had changed the momentum, and her supporters continued to stand, firm in the belief that her children finally had the chance to experience the peace they had been denied for far too long. The most powerful part of this entire journey is the transformation that unfolded not just in Melody, but in the children who now finally have space to breathe after being dragged through years of instability and emotional exhaustion because their mother refused to surrender even when the world tried to bury her beneath scandal and humiliation. Melody's fight was rooted in love, and that love became the anchor that held her family together when everything else around her collapsed, and her strength turned into the light that guided her children through the darkest days as they watched her rise above every attack thrown her way. The peace they now have is a direct result of her resilience, because she made choices not out of spite, but out of protection, and she built her life back brick by brick while healing from wounds that would have broken many. Martell's actions throughout the years only revealed the depth of his unwillingness to take responsibility as he repeatedly positioned himself as the victim while ignoring the damage his choices created, but the world eventually recognized the truth behind the drama and supported Melody as she stepped into a new chapter where her children's well-being was no longer threatened by manipulation. The legal system did what many feared it might fail to do by prioritizing the children's emotional safety and allowing Melody to provide the stable home they desperately needed. Melody's story has now become a symbol of hope for countless women who have walked through similar battles, because her journey proves that no matter how heavy the storms may become, there is always a way to rise above them. Her children can now grow with love, security, and peace, knowing their mother stood tall for them. And her victory stands as a reminder that pain can turn into purpose whenever a woman refuses to give up on herself or her family. As this chapter closes, the truth becomes clearer than ever, because Melody's journey is not just a personal victory, but a roadmap for anyone who has ever been pushed to the edge and still found the courage to stand back up and fight again while the world watched her every move, waiting to see if she would crumble, but instead witnessing her rise with more grace, strength, and focus than before. And now her story continues to unfold chapter by chapter with the same energy that inspired thousands who have followed her journey since the beginning. It is the kind of story that needs to be shared and spoken about, because it reminds people that strength is born in struggle and healing is earned in silence. And as this moment spreads across social media, people want to stay connected to every update, every shift, every new turn that emerges from Huntsville. So if you truly want to stay locked in with every twist, every revelation, and every truth that comes next, then you already know where the real breakdowns happen, because the hype spill is the only place where the story will continue to evolve in raw, honest, and unfiltered detail without distractions or excuses, keeping you connected to the heart of the drama as it happens.